This has Rangers fans fired up as Chris Drury's offseason plans may have been revealed in a new report. Lots of fans are wondering what's going to happen with Jacob Trouba and some of the other superstars, including Igor Shesterkin's contract and what that may look like. And we're going to break it down in this video for you. But before we do, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 70% of you watching our videos now are not actually subscribed. So if you want to do yourself a favor, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers. And that's right, there have been multiple reports that have come out stating that Chris Drury may be inclined to running it back next season, and that might not be what some Rangers fans want to hear. But I think there is another percentage of Rangers fans who are actually happy with that news. And I've seen the comments, it's split right down the middle, all right? Lots of fans are happy about the fact that they were so close this year to the Stanley Cup final and potentially winning a Stanley Cup, and they would want to run it back. And a lot of fans want to either blow it up or make some big changes. But without further ado, we'll jump right into it. This article from Joe, my article on the Rangers running things back, is live. Full access subscribers can read it here. So if you subscribe to the website, you can read the full thing. But he posted a little clip of it, I guess, a little snippet of it, and I thought it was very interesting and added some great insight, honestly. So if you jump into his article, he says Reilly Smith, of course, is an upgrade over Gaudreau, and you can't argue that. I think he is, regular season and playoffs, and also he's a guy who's won the Stanley Cup as well, and we'll get into his stats later. But anyway, you hope Cooley takes another step up. You hope one of the kids, Cooley, Othman, or Kakko, or Smith himself somehow gets Zibanejad and Kreider going again because they slowed down towards the end of last season. You hope Laviolette shelters Trouba and doesn't care about the C on his chest when he's throwing guys over the boards, which is true because maybe Trouba, if he were to return, because we talked about a buyout, trade, all these different scenarios that could still happen, maybe giving him a lesser role might help if he were to return next season. You hope Igor can handle the nonsense again. You hope Lafreniere takes another step forward, which I think he will. He looked great in the second half of last season. Of course, the playoffs was his coming out party. And that Panarin has another historic season. You hope Trocheck has another career year too. And now all of these things, you're like, wow, this is great. If all this goes according to plan, then the Rangers have no problems. This is the part that spoke to me the most. You know what else the Rangers did during the Lundqvist era? Hoped. They hoped the kids would step up. Hoped the bigger name players would be able to get them over the hump. They hoped and they lost year after year until the greatest player to wear the jersey retired without a cup. And I think that might be what Rangers fans are worried about right now in this point in time, right? Are you putting all your eggs into one basket and just hoping again that all these things go correctly? Are you hoping that Kakko, right? Do you have any evidence to suggest that Kakko will, come out and have an Alexis Lafreniere type season this season? You don't really have any evidence that that will happen. I'm not saying that it won't happen, that maybe they have to give him a better opportunity with better line mates, but now that they traded for Reilly Smith, I'm not sure that's going to happen, right? So maybe you want to move off from that player, right? You're going to hope all these things fit into place very perfectly. And again, Reilly Smith is an experiment at this point too, right? They only have him for 1 year, which is fine. So if it goes south, they offload that, but it is an experiment at this point, and it's going to be very interesting to watch. And I thought those were great points from Joe, honestly. So very interesting stuff in New York Rangers land. And then again, 3 straight playoff failures, and this is from the Hockey News. These core players have been around for 3 consecutive playoff runs, and they have failed every time to get the job done. Now, failed playoff runs, I mean, you can say that is true, but at the same time, they have made Eastern Conference Finals in 2 of the last 3 years, right? So I think that there is some success there. It's just you aren't getting to your ultimate goal, which is the Stanley Cup, right? So in the 2021-22 season, it was a surprise that the Rangers made it to the Eastern Conference Final and had a 2-0 series lead. A lot of people forget about that against the Tampa Bay Lightning. And obviously, they went on to lose that game and lose the series, right? So again, you can call it failures. They're just not, I wouldn't say they're failures, but they're not reaching their ultimate goal, right? And that is a problem. You have to reach your ultimate goal. Now, to switch gears a little bit to an experiment in Reilly Smith, this is from Forever Blue Shirts. There's, where they think Reilly Smith is going to fit into the lineup. And if you look at his JFresh chart, I mean, still pretty good. Very useful player. He's getting a little older. He's 33. He's projected to be a third liner, but I think he's going to play on the second line with the Rangers. And he could be a guy that could help get certain players going, right? but he's a career middle six forward, I think, and didn't really work out in Pittsburgh with some great players in Pittsburgh. But hopefully the Rangers' top end talent can get him going, and vice versa, right? I think it's a little bit of both. So all signs point to him sliding in next to Zibanejad and Kreider, particularly after the success that Artemi Panarin, Vincent Trocheck, and Lafreniere found together this postseason, or past season, excuse me. But the metrics for Smith in the past few seasons don't exactly indicate that it will be a guaranteed success. And I think that's the main thing with Riley Smith. And when you talk about running it back, the team is a little different, yes, in terms of, they have Riley Smith, for example. So yes, they're a little different. But at the end of the day, Riley Smith is an experiment. You know what you have in these other guys. You're hoping Kakko, takes a step forward finally, and shows flashes, more flashes, right? I should say, because he does show flashes. But Riley Smith at this point is a bit of an experiment. He's coming from Pittsburgh where it didn't work out. He won a Stanley Cup. Yes, it's true. So he's going to bring some of that experience, which I think is valuable too. You need guys who've been there to be on your team, like Gaudreau, but didn't add too much in the regular season. So it's an experiment. It's going to be interesting. The Penguins were stronger at 5-5 without him on the ice than they were with him, according to an advanced charts from Hockey Viz. So it's a little concerning. Pittsburgh wasn't a great team either. They didn't make the playoffs, right? They probably should have maybe squeaked in over, another team in Washington that did, but they didn't have the greatest season. So I'm wondering if you mix them in with a couple of the Rangers' top-end talent, things might be a little different. So, a lot of people are saying they're going to run it back, right? The majority, I think it is true. They are going to run it back. Cooley for Congress says New York Rangers replace Gaudreau with Riley Smith, Gustafsson with Zach Jones, Wenberg with Philip Hedl. Somebody want to tell me where they regressed? And while this is true, right, they they're upgrading at those positions even through not having Hedl injured, for example, and coming into the lineup. While that is true, these are mostly the same players, right? And like I said, Riley Smith is a bit of an experiment this season. You're going to have to see what you have in him. So it's going to be very interesting to see. And it sounds like in terms of trade and obviously free agency at this point, the Rangers are going to run it back, right? But there is much to look forward to in the future. If the New York Rangers play their cards right, in 5 to 7 years, talents of Lafreniere, Perreault, who looks great, right? You're going to spend another year in Boston College. Emery, Adam Fox, Condre Miller, Braden Schneider could all still make the Rangers a very, very competitive team. So there is much to look forward to down the line. But I think with the forward group you have now, you have to win now. And I don't think they've added enough to make some Rangers fans think that they're going to get over the hump, right? Riley Smith, if that's who you're adding, right? I don't know if he really adds too much of what you need, right? Again, like I said, getting a Stanley Cup winner is great, but it's an experiment at the end of the day. So it sounds like Chris Drury, through free agency and trade right now, could be running it back. So let me know in the comments what you think of that. Are you happy that they're going to run it back? Do you think they just need a little bit more luck and they get over the hump? Or would you rather him make some bigger moves? There's still a lot on the table and there's a lot brewing. We're going to have more videos coming at you with all of that news. But it seems like for the most part, he's going to keep the team completely intact and run it back, except for a few minor pieces. So let me know what you think in the comments. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with everything New York Rangers.